Welcome everyone to Symphony University episode 8 featuring Wallace Joseph, head of A&R at Warner Chappell Music. He's honestly a legend, working with some of the biggest names that we all know: Summer Walker, Wale, recently signing Slizzy Gang, Cash Cobain. We're super excited to learn, the intricacies of the subject matter and learning more about who you are, Wallace, and everything that you've learned in your journey. So everyone, let's drop questions that you have throughout the session in the Q&A chat. Wallace is open to having this be a bit of an interactive session, but at the end, we will have an extensive Q&A where everyone can just ask questions and Wallace will answer them. But yeah, Wallace, the floor is yours. Let's get the show on the road.
First of all, I want to say thank you to Symphony for having me on here, and the pleasure is mine to speak to you guys. I'm excited about this. I want to learn from you guys too. I can see the messages in the chat when you guys are having conversations, and I'm here to support you guys. I want to first start off by saying I'm Wallace Joseph. I'm the Senior Vice President over at Warner Chappell. I've been there 7, 8+ years. My background, I originally started in management, and I kind of navigated my way through, and I honestly didn't think this is what I would be doing, but someone seen something about me that I didn't see in myself, and they took a shot on me and gave me a chance. And here I am 7+ 8 years later. I've been able to work with some of the brightest people in the music industry and learn from people, and be able to help other people grow in their craft. I can go into detail. Some of the people that I work with, some of the people that I've been blessed to work with is the Take Keys of the world, Jetson Made It of the world, the Two Dopes of the world, the Nico Barons, Cash Cobain, Wale, Summer Walker, Ari Lennox, Jordan Ward, Earth Gang, Murder Beats, and the list goes on. There's so many people that that was already in the system that I collaborate with every day. Pooh Beats, Turbo, and I'm excited to help people every day. Sign Yeti Beats, who signed Doja Cat. I'm excited to be on this call and get into it. Let's do it. I think we can go to the next slide. So a lot of times people want to know, like, what is publishing? Like, the average person may think they know publishing, or even there's people I know in the industry that think they have an idea of publishing and what it is and how it works. A lot of the times people think like, hey, look, somebody gives me a check, I sign a deal, I make some songs, I move on. But in the grand scheme of it, it's more than just that. Music publishing to us, music publishing to me is like, how do we protect your copyrights and exploit your copyrights and make sure that your catalog is seeing the value that it deserves? And when you see people and executives fighting on Capitol Hill on the behalf of us and the writers, it's so important, because that's how we create increase and create more value to these catalogs. So music publishing is basically managing your catalog, exploiting the work, and seeding it out to the world globally, and how we can exploit it in so many ways. And in addition to protecting your copyrights. We can go to the next slide. So what people don't realize, there's several types of publishing, or what is publishing, or what is a copyright. A copyright is a tangible thing that you put into the world, that you create. I create a song, I now have a musical composition. That's a copyright. And there's two things that are part of a copyright. There's the musical work, which is the underlying composition, which I would say the track, that is created by the songwriter and producer. When you're in the session, you're writing the songs and you're writing the lyrics. And then the sound recording. The sound recording is the master side. And if people, like, always, a lot of people sometimes can't understand, like, yo, what's the difference? Just think label. Oh, the label puts it out and they distribute it. That's the sound recording. The musical works is someone producing and writing the song. So that's the basic of what a copyright is. And we can go into detail and we could talk a lot more about what a copyright is, but I want people to understand it in such minimal terms that it's easily translatable to you guys. Let me go on to the next slide. A lot of times in publishing, people don't know there's 4 income types. The 4 income types, the royalties that publishing offers to a writer, a producer, artist, are the mechanicals. Mechanicals is what you're making, what you're selling, copies of your record, what's coming in the near future. A lot of times you see like, yo, what's this increase? The increase comes from the MLC, the Mechanical License Collective, which fights on Capitol Hill every day for you guys. And I don't know if a lot of people on the chat know, like, there was $400 million out there that was able to be found to add increase to every writer that's out there in the industry that may have a record that was on radio that streamed or XYZ. Um, the MLC was able to go fight for the increase of this 0.12 that it may look minuscule to you, but it adds up in so many ways, and it's so helpful to writers and producers. And the reason why I think it's so helpful, like a lot of times people think like, yo, I get a record and like, yo, this record is going to make me rich. A lot of times that isn't necessarily true. Based on the way music is changing, streaming is evolving, radio is changing. Um, I think that's why it's so important. People are fighting for writers every day because sometimes I've seen writers with a hit that could be struggling because, hey, this song didn't stream this way or it didn't perform on radio well. So every day we're advocating for the writers, and you will see over the next couple years, and writers, if you have a record, you will see the increase in revenue over time, your royalties. Um, Public performance. A lot of people's like, yo, what is my public performance? When you hear a song at a restaurant, when you hear it being synced in certain things, and you're just like, yo, the Super Bowl, when you hear different things like, oh, this song is playing in here, in an arena, someone's playing a song. These things are being accounted for. You have PROs, which is a performing rights organization that's allocating and accounting for that. You got ASCAP, you got BMI, you got CSAC and GMR, which is a more private one. But they have blanket licenses over a lot of these venues and a lot of these places, a lot of these TV shows where they account for us and they make sure that they're collecting on our behalf. Synchronization. I think sync is so important. Sometimes people like don't realize how the world works. When you look at life or anything in life, something is synced to it. When you're listening to the television, when you're watching a show, when you're looking at the Super Bowl commercial, everything is synced to something musical. If you look at any perspective, when you're playing video games, there's some form of synchronization happen. And sometimes people don't know that side of the business where it can be lucrative also. Some producers and writers just simply focus on making songs in the sync world where they land that big trailer song and it might pay you six figures or it might pay you X amount. That a song may not pay you on the radio. So I think it's important to understand your audience and what you're making. Sometimes there's briefs that are tailored to specific movies, specific soundtracks, where you can go in and you can create specifically for that. And sometimes the opportunity is there where you land that song and you get that opportunity. Um, Digital streaming is basically all of DSPs, all of the Spotify's, the titles, of the world, the Pandoras and stuff like that. Um, and let's see, digital. Okay. All right, we can move on. So if you look at this, I kind of talked about this earlier, the guide to music publishing, right? But I'm breaking down how the song works. If you guys look, you can see the composition, the publishing is one side, and the recording, the master side is the other side. And we can go through it. What is the writer share? What is the publisher share? The performance royalties, what I talked about previously, and the mechanical royalties and how they're broken up and how they're paid out. And then if anyone has question on this, I wanted to show you the diagram of how it's broken down, what I'm talking about in the previous sheets. So you can take this, you can sit with this, you can break it down. If you have any questions, I'm here to support you on this, and just you can ask me. Like you're saying, the underlying melody, lyric, and beat is going to be the composition, it's going to be the publishing, and the recording is going to be the master side. We can go on. This is so important to me. A lot of people sometimes come to me and is like, yo, I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do. And I always tell people like the most important thing is like building your team. And I always ask people like, yo, who's on your team and why? I think it's so important for writers, producers, and artists to educate themselves on the music space. So that's going online and sourcing the information yourself, but that's also uh, bringing in knowledgeable people on your team to help you realize your goals and go to the next level. I think it's so important for people to have an attorney on their team. And some people might say, like, yo, I don't have the money for an attorney right now. Or how do I get an attorney? Or like, who's the best attorney? Or how do I make this happen? I don't have no industry relationship. I always tell people, man, this device is so amazing where you can literally go online and you can do your research and you can go look at different attorneys and be like, yeah, that person represents this, or you can get with a friend that has an attorney. You can find out like what person makes sense for you. I always tell people you don't have to shoot for the biggest attorney. Find someone that believes in you and someone that can be there for you when you need them as you grow. Um, don't just go with an attorney because your friend is using an attorney or you've seen an artist using an attorney. What you should just use that as a guideline and be like, okay, cool, I see who they represent, but how does this work for me? Attorney will help make sure that your agreements are set up properly, that you have the proper information, that your business is in order legally, and you can go from there. Um, a manager. A lot of people like, yo, how do I get my manager? I always tell people, in my eyes, never chase a manager. If you do the work, they'll come to you. A lot of times when you chase a manager, the leverage goes the other way. And I always tell people, let the energy come to you. If you build it, they'll come. So I'll tell you, when you're looking for a manager, maybe it's your friend that you bring on and that you deal with. When I first started out, some of my friends were who I represented. I didn't know anything of what I was doing, but they trusted me and it was like, yo, Wallace, we want you to represent you because we see how you move around. We see how you talk to people. You may not have all the information, but we understand that you're knowledgeable. Um, and it began to translate. So sometimes it's your best friend, sometimes someone you met online, sometimes it's someone that's referred to you. But I always tell you, find someone who's like-minded like you, that sees the common goal and like, yo, we know where we want to go and go together. Um, a publisher. A publisher can be so important when you're building a team. A lot of people will say, hey, look, man, I want the biggest bag. And I always tell people it's not about the biggest bag, it's what's right for you. Because sometimes you may sign for the biggest bag, but you may not have the interest of the A&R because they're looking at like, yo, this might be a market share play, or this might be a good deal to have. But is that person's heart really in the growth of your success? It happens and sometimes it don't. You want to find someone that truly believes in you, someone that will be there for you when you have that hit song and when you don't have that hit song. You want to have that person that's right in the middle. Wherever the wave is going, that person's right along with you. You can call them. They'll answer the phone. I think it's so important for people not to just chase the bag because there's so many intangibles. So it's finding the right A&R person, finding the right sync opportunities that can create opportunities for you. A business manager. Sometimes people are like, yo, when do I get a business manager? I was like, it varies on what your situation is. Um, a business manager, someone's going to help you manage your money and facilitate your money. At the end of the day, you still have your money. I've seen people sign for $1 million and blow it. I've seen people take $1 million and invest back into their craft. Um, I always tell people like, when you're signing a deal, understand what you're signing, understand what you're signing for. There's going to be taxes that are going to be happening. There's going to be lawyers that you're going to have to pay. There's going to be a manager that you're going to have to pay. There's going to be a business manager that you're going to have to pay. What you see on paper is not what you're going to get. So be mindful of what you're getting and take that money and make use of it. I always tell people to always invest back into their craft. I think it's so important to invest back into your craft. And a business manager is somebody who will help you facilitate, make sure your taxes are paid, make sure that your business is in order, and make sure that you're receiving your payment on time and going after those things and make sure invoices are completed. And not all the time, like for a long time, I kind of managed my clients' work for a long time where like we knew where every invoice is at. We were going after every dollar. We were just grinding because we weren't ready for a business manager at the time. So I was like, hey, look, we're gonna figure this out. I don't like doing invoices, but I'm gonna do them because when you get paid, I get paid. If I don't do the invoice, you don't get paid, I don't get paid. And I got to figure out how to get paid. So we would be pushing to make sure that we get those done. And people see marketing on here. I tell people all the time, as a producer, as a writer, and artists generally always market themselves, but people don't realize when you're a producer and writer, it's important to market yourself too. Sometimes people will look at someone else and be like, yeah, why is that person in a better position than me? They don't produce better than me. They don't play this instrument better than me. But what they know how to do is strategically position themselves better. And I've seen so many artists and producers that may not have the same talent as someone else. This person may play 7 different instruments. How is this person uh, front facing with people? How is he communicating with people? What is his relationship to different managers? How is he networking? How is he building? How is he going to different events? Then you ask yourself, man, how do I get these events? Before, when I first started, there was no, like, Instagram wasn't a thing to go look and be like, yo, this is happening. I don't want to date myself, but I would be on Craigslist looking for internships and trying to figure my way out into industry. There was no like how-to guide to get in the industry. So sometimes I understand when you guys are like, yo, I don't know where to start. But I tell people the phone is so important. I can go online, I'll give you a story on like how I marketed myself as a manager and how I strategically positioned myself to get in certain places. I would go online, and the people that I was inspired by, I would go online and I would look at their Instagrams. I would study their Instagrams and I would look at their dynamic. What's their family life like? What do they like to do? Do they play basketball? Do they go to a certain restaurant? And I would kind of be like, okay, cool. I see that person's having this event. I would go there. But their Instagram was like my Rolodex. I knew everything about their life because I would look at it. And like when I seen them, I was able to create conversation based on what I seen on their social media. And they would be like, whoa, oh, you're informed. You know about me. And people like that. People want to feel more than just like I'm being objectified as a music executive and all you want to talk to me is about music. When I can say, hey, look, I play basketball at the same spot you play. I've never been there, but I'm like, yo, I know how to strategically align myself and position myself. Like, hey, look, yeah, I played basketball there last week. And the next time you see them, they're inviting me to come play. Now I'm building a personal relationship, which turns into a professional business relationship. And that's how I first started. When I moved to LA in 2013, I kept getting no, 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 no. I had 5 riders, 6 riders that I moved out to LA with. We didn't know anybody. There was one person that gave us an opportunity. His name was Zach Katz. He was the president of BMG at the time. And he didn't really know me. And it was based off an opportunity through one of the other producers I had managed at the time who kind of dropped the ball and like blew him off. And I was like, yo, give me his number. I'll follow up this relationship and I'll fix it for you guys. And I end up fixing the relationship, but those guys didn't end up signing. But I leveraged me building a personal relationship to get 6 other guys signed. And we moved to LA. And I was like trying to figure out like, yo, why can't I get my guys in sessions? We're signed to a publisher now. And what I realized is I was forcing work on people and I didn't realize, yo, there's a million other people fighting to get a placement. Why would they put me in a session? Why would they put my 6 guys in a session over their guys? But then when I realized, I was like, I took a step back. I'm like, how can I better myself? What things I can evaluate? And I was like, man, um, I know what's wrong. I'm not being personable with these people. I'm just working from fight or flight mode. I was in survivor mode. I was like, yo, give me an opportunity. And it just came off a little thirsty sometimes. And the people like they were turned off by it. But a lot of people also showed me love because they were like, man, we loved how hard you were going about your guys. They were new guys, they were still learning and growing. But when you started having a personal relationship with us, what I did was I was like, man, I knew a couple A&Rs that played basketball. And I was like, yeah, we should get together and play ball. And that created the snowball effect for me. I started hooping with different people. I started hooping with Sean Barron, who was at Atlantic, Gary Leon, who was at Atlantic, different people, D-Mile, who's producing all of Bruno Mars's hit, just having personal relationships with these guys. And now I can call these guys on the phone and ask for, hey, can you do this for me? And they could do vice versa. So once I realized that, I was like, yo, let me position myself, let me market myself as this person. I may not be there where I want to, where I want to be yet, but out to the world, I'm going to start telling people this is what I do. These are the type of clients that I have, and this is their level of expertise because I wanted people to see me. And when they see me, I wanted to make up for whatever was behind me, whether it was my client, whether he had to go work a 9 to 5. If I was there, my client was still present even if he wasn't there because the way I marketed myself and the way I promoted myself. So I think it's so important producers and writers, use social media to your advantage. Find like-minded individuals like yourself. Be strategic. You don't have to be corny and do wild antics online, but be yourself. Example I use is like when I look at my client Diesel who goes online, I just seen he put something online where he's playing the keys and the interaction it's having. If you guys go to his page or go to Nico Barron's page and you see like they post videos every day of what they're doing, it has buying power and people are like, hey man, I want to know what he's doing. Like, hey, then artists are buying in, then people are checking in. It's like leads to more opportunities, it leads to more collaboration, it leads to artists DMing them, hitting it up like, yo, we want to work. So I tell people like, don't just be on Instagram and Twitter and on those social medias to be on them, like really be on them to create opportunity, use it to your advantage. Like it's the easiest tool in the world. And all you got to do is apply and so many things can happen. PROs are so important. Sometimes people think like, hey, a PRO just collects my money. But PRO to me are a lifesaver. They're a game changer. They sometimes people don't know the importance of them. It's like they're more than just a performing rights organization. They're people that actually believe in people early and give them help when they need help, advancing them on their future royalties. But more importantly, there's people standing behind you, fighting for you every day on Capitol Hill and different places to make sure that we ensure our writers are paid. But choosing the right organization, I always tell people when you find the right organization, it's going with like people, someone who sees something in you and something you see in them. I just was at the BMI Awards and I was just sitting with Wardell Malloy after the show, and I was just like had to thank him on like thanking him on like how they recognize the writers. It was so amazing to see writers go on stage and be thankful on receiving their first award, not knowing how they would get there. And it was such a beautiful moment to see repeat people, to see SZA be songwriter of the year, to see Babyface being recognized for his talent. So I think PROs are so important, in making sure the writers are heard. We can go on to the next slide. Let's make a deal. People want to do a deal. People want to sign a deal. People are in deals. People want to get out of deals. Um, a lot of time people don't understand what they're signing. So like as a publisher, as a human first, I always like to educate people on what they're getting into. I like to educate people on like what you're signing, because sometimes people like, oh, I signed a deal. The check gonna hit in 2 weeks. I'm finna go get the chain. I'm finna go get the new keyboard. I'm finna go do this. But people don't understand what is the deal process. What is the term of the deal? When I tell people like the scope of the deal, it's like, yo, when you look at deal terms, how long is the deal? The standard deal right now, it varies. It all based on your situation. But the most standard one right now, where common practice is that, is around a 3-year deal. And people are like, oh, what is a 3-year deal? Is literally a 3-year deal or recoupment. So hey, I give you $100,000. You're in the deal for 3 years or until recoupment. Until recoupment is when you make the money back. If you haven't made the money back, you just stay in the deal until the money is fully recouped. Some deals have hard stops at 3 years, even if you haven't made the money back, and you don't see those a lot. But it's like some deals, like some people just want to have a producer writer in their system. They'd be like, yeah, I'll take the bet on this producer where they'll have a hard stop in their deal. And that comes from negotiating on your attorney. So all deals are different. Some deals could be 4 years, some deals could be 2 years. We just did something really cool at Warner Chapel where we give writers and producers, and there's writers and producers on here. This deal could work for you if you're brand new starting out. It's called a short form deal. It's a 1-year admin deal where we go and collect for you. You may not have that huge hit, but you have some songs out there and you don't want to miss out on that money. And we go collect for you for a year. You still own the songs, the copyrights are yours. We're just administering it for you, where we go collect around the world and make sure all the money is accounted for, whether it's $5, $10, $1,000, $20,000, $100,000. We want to make sure that's protected. It's a 1-year deal. But the standard deal, there's a couple types of deals that people are excited about right now, or people are talking about right now. It's a co-pub deal and an admin deal. A co-pub deal, generally we share in the co-publishing 50-50, right? And over times, those deals have changed. You know, like people used to be, I don't know if there are people that have been signed where there was a deal where there was a MDRC, minimum delivery required commitment. And sometimes it would force writers to be in a deal for so long and they couldn't get out of the deal. And as the music industry was changing, it was moving over from heavy radio consumption and album sales to heavy streaming, that deal almost became archaic. It's still favorable to some people, a lot of people in the industry, but a lot of people was like, yo, I can't get out of my deal because there's less and less artists happening. There's less and less major projects. There's more collaboration happening. And you would sign a deal and it'd be like, yo, 4-song MDRC. And people are like, yo, what is 4-song MDRC? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna sign the deal. I'm hungry. I need a deal. I need 50K. I need 100,000, whatever the deal is. And you would look, you'd be like, man, 4 songs means 400%. How am I gonna bring back 400% if I'm getting 5% here, 10% here, 12% here, 20% maybe here? And you look at it, you be like, yo, I gotta deliver like 30, 40 songs. And what happened, and there was less and less songs happening. And people were like, man, I can't do this. And so what the industry did, I think why I love publishing adjusted with the times. A lot of the deals have removed that and they've changed to a minimum delivery commitment where it's like, hey, look, you just need to deliver me 2 full 100% songs to my email compositions where I can say, hey, look, we account for these songs and now we can hold these songs. Um, and also now another deal is the admin deal. The admin deal is like an administrative deal where it's still a publishing deal. So sometimes people get confused. They're like, yeah, I'm not in a pub deal. No, you are in a pub deal. You're just in a admin version of a pub deal. And the admin version is like, hey, where we collect for you, but you still own your copyrights. In this period of time, let's say you sign for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, we collect your works for you and administer it for a fee, maybe 80, 20, 70, 30, 60, 40, whatever it is. It could be made up to what you want to do. It's what you negotiate. Um, a lot of times people are like, yo, when I'm signing a deal, hey man, I have no placements or I have a placement, I have this big song coming in. How do I know the value of what this song is worth when I'm signing a deal? In publishing, still the biggest consumption where we make a lot of our money is the radio. You know, these new streaming acts are starting to make a lot of money in streaming. If you have a lot of consumption, there's a lot of money there, but it's still the thing that still pays is still radio for us. So when you have a #1 hit at rhythmic, pop, top 40, or urban, those are important and plus encompassing the streaming. So if I have a huge hit, what's coming to the deal? Your attorney sending me a Schedule A. I'm looking at the song that's in the deal. I'm making an offer to you. And if the offer makes sense, this song is coming into the deal. And now we're going to exploit this works to see how we can get more money out of this song and build that revenue for you and exploit all around the world, ex-US and in our US territories through sync, through multiple opportunities, through creative services, through maybe a brand partnership, through different opportunities. And sometimes when people are making a deal, there's times where they're signing another deal, whether they're in a production deal, where they were signed to someone else and they want to. There's ways to get out of that deal, and it's like we're coming in as a new partner, and we're creating opportunities to take up that old deal and say, hey, look, we're gonna pay this old deal off, and you're gonna start new with us. So there's so many different ways to come into a deal and get out of a deal. But I think I tell people find the right partner. I was like, as long as the partner is working, you never have to worry about the deal because you're going to get through it and you're going to resign. I always tell people, as long as I'm doing my job, you're going to come back and resign. If I didn't do my job, you'll go elsewhere. And I can't be mad at that. But it's like, as long as you do your job, people will continue to stay there with you. Um, it's important to know what your splits are and making sure when you're producing these songs and you're in the room with somebody or you're sending a loop or you're sending an idea that you guys have an understanding. Sometimes there can be split disputes, but a lot of the times I tell people get with like-minded individuals that make the process seamless. It's not always going to be easy when you're doing splits, but splits are important to have an understanding what you're going to get, because that's going to be determinant of what kind of deal publishers can offer to you. Um, JVs, joint ventures. Be honest with you, everyone wants a joint venture, and I don't know if a lot of people know what a joint venture is, but a lot of people like, yo, I want to sign producers and writers to me. I want to do X, Y, Z. I'm like, to be honest, 90% of joint ventures fails because people don't understand the business of a joint venture. A lot of people will say, hey, look, I want to get a joint venture. Okay, you got the joint venture. Well, I just found this producer. I want to sign him for $100,000. Why would we do a joint venture where we have to split the money now and you want to sign a producer for $100,000? When people do joint ventures, I want people to understand it's like, yo, you're at the ground of opportunity. I want to find somebody early. I want to find somebody to develop, and I want to partner with a major publisher that can help me realize that goal and create structure. So I always tell people, when you're creating a joint venture, when you're building this company, look for individuals where you can start early with. Sometimes there may be opportunity when someone's already going and you got to catch them and you got to pay them what you got to pay them. But when you're building a joint venture company, you want to build it so you can be in the positive. If you're operating out a negative, it will never pay you out because you're in the red, because you're taking way more money than you probably should, where you're generating where your income is coming in. So you want to make sure, hey, I find an individual that's someone that's super talented. I start with them early and I build with them early and I build this company up. I've seen a few successful ventures in our system, and I've seen a lot of them not work. And I've watched the ones that work and I see what they do. And it's super dope to see, people like Mike Will, who built the Eardrummers. He's one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to building his publishing company, and how he worked and how he found people that trusted him and he believed in him. And he was able to provide opportunity to these guys with our help. But he was so important. He drove that vehicle. Now his publishing company just runs on its own through us, and we help him, and we manage, and we move around and facilitate a lot of his guys. Um, yeah, that's making a deal. I tell people, make the right deal. Don't look at what the next person is getting and saying, yo, I want that same deal. Because sometimes someone will sign for $1 million and they might have the song that allows them to sign for that. And you want to say, I want to sign for $1 million. I deserve that. And let's say you go sign for the same $1 million, right? But you don't have the song to recoup it. But maybe somebody believed the hype, or you told someone you had a song coming, and now you're not recouping, and now you're stuck in this deal, and now you're miserable. Now you're blaming the publisher, and now you're saying it's your fault, but you're not taking accountability that I was looking at the next person and hedging my bet on what they got and think I deserve the same thing. I always tell people, take the right deal for you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. We can go on to the next slide. Collaboration is key. I think this is so important in 2024. I think people have to get creative. Um, if we're just being honest, in the last couple of years, there's been less and less superstars. They're breaking out, it's happening, but there are not as many superstars as there was before. But I tell people, the way to earn your way to these projects is collaborating, is getting with people, getting with like-minded individuals, co-producing. A lot of people like, yeah, I don't want to co-produce. I don't know that person. I always tell people, find people that are common to you and you guys share same goals. Get together, exchange ideas. This person might have a relationship with this artist. You might have a relationship with this artist. So y'all come together and y'all exchange, y'all collab, and he's sending your beat over there. You're sending his beat over here. Now people are starting to ask like, yo, who's this person? Yo, bring him into the studio. Now that's another extension that you just built. I always tell people, get very creative. Don't be afraid to collaborate. Don't try to get caught up on like what the splits are going to be. Get creative, collaborate, and let the opportunity come. A lot of people's like, yo, how do I get to the artist? People don't realize the closest person to the artist is the engineer, not even the manager. The manager is going to be the manager. He's going to facilitate, handle the business. But the person who knows what's going on with the artist, when he breathes, when he sleeps, when he works, when he go into the studio, who got the hard drive? It's normally the engineer. So find the engineers. I tell people like, yo, Don Tolliver's Derek's engineer, find him. Evan, Cardi B's engineer, find him. There's different people strategically that you can go to. Cheese, who did all the NBA Youngboys, find him. I've watched them create opportunities for people. The engineer is so key because they know what that person's thinking. They know when to punch them in. They know the sound they're going for. They can be the person that coach them to take a different direction. Yo, listen to this beat. It's different from what you're doing, but try this. So important. Artist to artist relationship. Find ways to strategically build with artists. Um, because once you gain an artist's trust, he's going to lock in with you. When I look at the Turbos and the Gunners of the world, they're locked in. When I look at Weezy and Future, locked in. Thug and Weezy, locked in. You want to find Southside, Future. You want to find people that can trust you, and you want to build those artist to artist relations. And it doesn't happen overnight, but always look at ways to strategically position yourself. And that's how you do that, through marketing, through building relationships. And people don't realize the artist relationship goes hand in hand with the next thing. A lot of people are like, man, how do I get next to the artist? Don't always be pressed to go to the artist directly. Build a relationship with his right hand man. Build a relationship with the homie that's trying to produce. Yeah, you know what? That homie may not be great yet, but maybe you get with him and you build a relationship with him. And now the artist is like, man, my man took a liking to my man. We know he's not all the way there yet. Or maybe it's the guy that's rapping. I tell people, the way I got my opportunity really in the industry was, I had a friend that I went to high school with who seen me years after, seen that I was grinding and was in college. And she was like, yo, my homie raps with Rick Ross. And I was like, damn, let me see his music. I was like, this ain't Ross. But then something clicked in my head. I was like, yo, why am I so worried about getting to Ross when I can strategically feed him and let him be our mouthpiece to get to Ross? So we just started giving him free beats. We would drive down to Miami, didn't barely had any money, and we would just give him beats. We would book the studio, we'd pull our checks together, we'd book the studio, and we would just give him beats, give him beats. He would rap on it. And then he would just go and talk to Ross, like, yo, there's these kids that's coming down from Palm Beach and they're driving to Miami and they're giving me these records and this is what it sounds like. Da, 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 da. And Ross was like, yo, who are those kids? Tell them to come to the club one night. We go to the club, we meet Ross, then we meet Meek, and we do a bunch of stuff with Meek. Then we meet Wale, and we do a bunch of stuff with him. And the relationship started trickling. And now it was an engine that was just moving on its own now. People were just calling us. People like, yo, these the young kids. They hungry. Da, 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 da. They did X, Y, Z. So now we had the placements. But it was us realizing like, yo, don't rush and try to get to the artist. Maybe someone to the right or the left of the artist that is looking for a shot or may have the person's ear, and you can go to them. We would be in the studio in Miami, and we would leave there was a studio called South Beach Studios in Miami. You guys can probably look it up. This guy named Joe Galdo managed it. And he was the one who like really seen something in us. We were young kids at the time. And we would leave the B room open, which Pharrell built, and the A room would be all the big artists. It would be the Bangladesh. It would be Tom Lord Alge and Chris Lord Alge. I don't know if you guys know the CLA compressor. They created that. They would be in the A room working, and we would leave the B room open, and we would just press play on the beats, and the entourage would just walk by different managers, different artists, different producers, different homies would walk by, and every time someone would be like, "Yo, who's them beats over there? Who's those kids over there?" And someone from the entourage would come get us, and we'd go over there and play beats, and we started placing records, and now we were in the game. Um, and I think that's so important. I think, having a relationship also with a publisher and A&R. I've seen so many publishers change lives. I look at someone like Ryan Press, and he's my boss. And I remember sitting in the office the day of when they created Sunflower. He's like, yo, I'm about to take Sway Lee to the studio. The studio was not too far from our office. We were in Santa Monica at the time. And he's like, yo, I'm about to take Sway Lee to the office, go work, to the studio to work with Post. They already kind of had knew each other, but this was like the thing that took it over the top. Ryan takes Sway Lee to the office, to the studio, and Post is not there yet. So Sway is getting a little antsy. He's like, yo, I'm about to dip. Ryan got creative, was like, yo, how do I keep Sway here? I need to go make a call. It's like, yo, you guys got to get Post here. We got to work. Like, we got Sway to come. This is coming off Sway's Red Hot, On Fire, Black Beatles, all that stuff is happening. And he's like, yo, we got to figure out. He steps out of the room. He calls Post manager and was like, yo, you got to get Post here. Like, we got to get him here. And if it wasn't for him being persistent or being that person that was believing into this artist, and like, yo, there's something special here, because like, yo, we know them two together can create something special. Post ends up getting there really late, but they lock in. They write one song, and that song kind of happens. Then it's like, yo, let's go to the next song. They go to the next song. They create Sunflower, which is the most awarded RIAA song ever in our time. And it's like, I just remember like him calling me, is like, yo, I think we got something special. And that song took over the world. Um, so it was special to see that. It's special to see someone being like, yo, I'm dialed in. I'm gonna make sure. So it's like having a relationship with the A&R. And I tell people a lot of times there's ways to deal with the A&R. You got to think about it. When you're dealing with the A&R, there's hundreds of people, thousands of people that are signed to this company. So sometimes the A&R may not always be able to get back to you, but don't take it as like they're not messing with you or they're not rocking with you. Just find a more strategic way to get on their radar. Because sometimes I always tell people, if you show up 110%, I'm gonna show up 150%. But if you're checking in and I'm not seeing you like working on your craft or getting better or doing the strategic things to get in my space, because I'm like, yo, I got to devote this energy to so many people. How can you strategically create this space for me to be dialed in on you? That's personal relationship building. That's finding strategic ways to be like, yo, let's get together and do this. Or like, yo, Wallace, I got this idea. Keep me in tune, keep me intrigued. And I want to do the same thing for you. You go 110, I'm gonna go 150, and I'm gonna be dialed in on you. I'm gonna be talking to you every day. I'm gonna be calling you every day. I'm gonna be laughing and joking with you every day. Maybe it's a trip that we take out of the country as friends, and we build that personal relationship. I think the A&R is so important. I think they're great individuals in a lot of these buildings. I think if it wasn't for a great A&R, Shani Gonzalez, who seen something about me when I was managing my guys at when they were at BMG, she took a shot on me. I felt like she almost believed more in me than the writers, and those writers are my friends. But she just like see how persistent I was about making sure these guys be successful. And there was days I couldn't pay my cell phone bill. She got up and was like, "Yo, Wallace, what's the problem?" I was like, she's like, "Why are you calling me?" I think Wi-Fi calling had just started. She's like, "Why are you calling me from this thing?" And I lied, and I was like, "Yo, I didn't have service." She's like, "No, what's wrong?" I was like, "I'm being honest with you. I can't afford to pay my phone." And she was like, "How much is it?" She paid it, and like she don't know. Every day I've tried to pay her back for the last 7 years, and she won't let me pay her back. But she's like, "Yo, Wallace, I'm gonna hold this over you jokingly." But she's like, "I want you to remember, like, I'm always here for you. I'll always support you." And I'm so grateful for her. Without her, I would not be where I'm at. And she just seen someone who was just hungry. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like grinding, I was just working hard, and she watched me grow as a manager and then into an executive. Um, and she was there for me when we got our first big hit, and she was there when we got our second big hit. I strategically helped put "Where Are You Now" by Justin Bieber together. That was his comeback hit that changed everything for him. 6 months later, um, probably one of the most like personal records to me is like putting Broccoli for Drum together with my friends, watching my friends all become successful after that record. It changed so many of our lives, and I was so grateful for that. Um, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Yeah, and we can go on to the next slide. I want to thank everybody for joining Symphony. If I talked a lot, I just want to be here for you guys. If there's any ways I can help support you guys, I'm
That was
here.
amazing. You
Um,
usually are dropping gems after gems after gems. So I'm sure everyone is taking a lot from this. You didn't talk a lot. We want to even hear more from you because there's some
Man,
questions.
I tell people keep pushing,
Thank
keep
you.
persevering.
Let's get these questions answered. You down?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I want to leave people with one last thing. Oh, this is my thing, and I tell it to everybody. Use it, burn it to the ground. Life is a 100-meter race,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean you have to run the race alone. Sometimes we think when there's a person in lane one, a person in lane three, a person in lane four, we're running against those individuals. But sometimes you don't know that person to the left of you or the right of you is actually your anchor. So find your like-minded individual and run the race with them and go to the finish line. As long as you take one step forward, that's one step you don't have to take back. So if I take a step forward and I stop there for 2, 3 months and I can't figure out this idea or I can't get this placement, just regroup. Don't quit. Keep pushing and find people that you can go forward with and hang on to those people, latch on to those people and go forward. Find those like-minded individuals and win the race. Every start has a finish. My start started crazy. I moved to LA in 2013. We signed a deal. Uh, we ran out of the money. We lost our condo. We were sleeping in cars and we were sleeping in hostels. And I was sleeping on friends' couches. And then we figured it out and we got the records off. The records became hits. I had clients that had hit records and they were still driving Uber. And I was trying to figure it out. And I was like, yo, this doesn't make sense. My client got two massive hits. Why are they driving Uber still? Every day I'm just racking my brain, yo, they're gonna fire me. I was like, these clients got massive hits. And I was like, you know what? I got to educate myself on this business. So what I did was, I was stubborn about going on the inside, but Shanika's, I was like, yo, wow, this is going to be life changing to you. Ryan Press was like, this is going to be life changing to you. And when I went on the inside, I educated myself so I can educate people that look like me, people that talk like me, that may not have a voice to go and talk in these big rooms. I want to be here for you and I want to support you in this music fight every single day and represent you guys. And I really, truly want to thank you guys for just taking the time out of your day to come on here and listen to me speak. I want to be a source to anyone that's here. I appreciate everyone from everywhere around the world coming in. I want to thank Warner Chapel for letting me do this opportunity with Symphony. I want to thank the entire Symphony team. V Live, we go way back. If you remember, you remember. Do you remember? And I want to say thank you. And let's open it up for the questions.
I appreciate that, Wallace. Your vulnerability with sharing your story, sharing where you came from, sharing how you got to where you are is inspiring to, I'm sure, everyone listening, myself included. So thank you for being so transparent and sharing the things that we need to hear, right? Because I feel like when you're there, like, I feel like a lot of people aren't able to see everything that it took to get to where you are, you know? So real shit for, you know, being so open.
Thank
and
you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate
yeah.
you guys. If I was talking a lot, you
Well,
guys
no,
could
you
send me the
weren't.
messages.
Oh, you
um,
weren't. Yeah, you said everything that needed to be said, and we want to hear more. So I'm gonna go with the first question. An anonymous attendee said they're looking.
Anonymous.
I know they're hiding. They said they're looking for publishing administration. What are your thoughts on Song Trust or similar like places, Tool Loss, TuneCore, etc., or what would you recommend?
Warner Chapel, Warner Chapel, Warner Chapel, Warner Chapel. Nah, I tell people this all the time, right? I'm never a person that says like, yo, yes, I wave the flag for Warner Chapel, but I always tell people find the right person and find the right structure for you. Whether it's a different company, whether it's, you know, these new companies like STEM, Song Trust, different people that collect for you. Find about how does this structure work? How is your collection? Like, how do you exploit the works? But most importantly, who is the person that's going to champion me in that building? Because yes, those four walls will be there forever, but who's going to be your person in that building? Who's going to go to war for you? Who's going to be like, yo, I got to get this person in session. Can you make this happen for me? Um, and I think you got to find your champion. I think, you know, you go through these different companies, you can kind of like do your research, ask questions. If you got a question, hit me. But I never tell people just because I'm at Warner Chapel, like I'm the only person, but Warner Chapel is number one to me. Warner Chapel is a great place. But for real, I tell people like find the place that's right for you. Find the person that's going to champion you in the building that's going to go hard for you.
Thank you for that. Miguel Martinez is asking, I've been trying to break into the sync industry and keep running into dead ends. How would you manage getting your foot in the door?
Finding someone in the space that is either, you know, supervisors, like they're like the unsung hero behind the scenes, so they might be harder to get to. Finding someone in the space where meet the coordinator on the sync team. Go to these different sync events that's happening around. Like you can find them on different social media platforms and stuff like that. But to get to the music supervisors, they're dealing with so many high level things. I wouldn't even chase them, right? I would find someone that's on the cusp that's like making their way and link with them because they're gonna have all the information because the information trickles down to them and they're gonna be the one who's excited about like, yo, I want to get this song on NBA 2K. I want to get this song at Madden. And they're gonna be the person that's gonna be like, yo, even if it's low hanging fruit, it's something that they're excited about and it's something that they made happen. So find those like-minded individuals, even if you're not signed to a publisher yet. It's kind of like, yo, get strategic, go online and go like, yo, I'm gonna go through the whole Warner Chapel team, like, boop, go to Wallace's followers. All right, cool. That person's on the sync team. Hey, I got a question. Do you mind? Da, da, da. Go to someone on Sony, find their, go through the whole thing and just find all the people and strategically build this network and do it, go about it the right way. Don't be like overly pushy, but be strategic in building a relationship with them, find those people that are on the come up that are going to be next and then and get with them.
I like that. Our community is really such a strong thing that I feel like people just sleep on, you know, like tapping into the people around you and the resources that you have literally readily available, like you mentioned earlier, right on your phone. But Jordan, what are your thoughts on a subscription-based publishing service, something with a 10% pub admin fee?
Never thought about that. A subscription based, say the question again.
Yeah, he's asking about a subscription-based publishing service, something with a 10% pub admin fee.
I would have to know more of duration, the term of the deal, and things like that. I love the question because he's getting creative. He's like, yo, how do we, yo, if I put my song in this place for 6 months or a year and I pay you X amount of percentage, I think it's cool to see him getting creative, but there's so much intricacies of like how it works, how we collect for you, how long we have the song for. So I'm not mad at him. But I think it's cool, but that's almost like, it's almost like this person said, it's like doing a short form deal with us for a year. So I think it's a cool it could be a cool idea, but I think there could be like various things that you run into. So I think finding the right publisher and building with them versus like, yo, I'm gonna go to the subscription model and might get lost in the shuffle because 100,000 people would think works are in there. I think you should just find a right person for you and build with them. But I'm not mad at the idea of this person.
Yeah, they're definitely getting creative. Dare has an interesting question with, I feel like, the technicalities of where AI is going. And they're wondering if there are some AI plays that they can start to make now to be ahead of the game when it comes to being an aspiring publisher.
Can you repeat that again for me?
Yeah, they're asking as an aspiring publisher, what are some AI plays they can make to be ahead of the game? If you have any thoughts.
I think what I realize, some people do this, some people don't like it, is a lot of these artists want to be familiar with how they sound. And I was hearing a lot of people doing uh getting the song and like getting it in the person artist's voice. And the artist could hear that song, be like, yo, man, it sounds just like me. This is how I want to sound. And you're like, some artists like it, some artists don't like it. But what I seen was some artists did gravitate towards when we're in the pandemic and stuff like that. And some people didn't really have, ideas, or like didn't like couldn't find someone who sounds similar like them, or couldn't catch a song. They'd be like, yo, I got this demo that sounds just like you, and like tell me what you think. And I've seen a lot of opportunities where some records have placed like that, and I've seen some artists that didn't like it. But AI is moving fast and we're moving with the times. I think we've seen a way where NFTs came in and like every publisher ran. It was like, how do we strategically get an NFT game? And then it came and went. I think what we're seeing in AI is going to continue to develop and grow. That's where even with our camp that we just had in Vegas, as a publisher, we was like, yo, how do we strategically put sessions for 300 to 400 people? It was like, yo, we may use an AI software that pulls all these people's information and we just put it in a template and it creates a session and we see what we think about that. We thought about creative ways of doing stuff like that. So, and it helps the A&R be able to navigate the rooms and kind of see like, yo, we see what this technology is doing, but we also know that we never wanted to replace the A&R, but we want it to be a useful tool. So there's different various ways to use AI technology to help eliminate processes and get to places faster.
I like that automation, right? Edward is asking, for producers who live outside the US, what's a strategy to connect with artists in other countries outside of just Instagram DM?
Travel, but you don't have to. I Use the phone. The phone will travel faster for you than anything in the world. Back in the day, you used to have to get up and be like, yo, I gotta get to New York to meet this person. Now I can go on my phone and meet anybody I want to. I might be able to DM an artist and they might respond. Chances they won't, but chances it might happen. You don't have to leave your living room. I think people like, yo, man, I don't like DMing a person. Get strategic. You don't got to blow a person up. Make yourself visible. I think like, yeah, ways you can do it. Like, let's say if you don't want to use social media, you could travel. You could build a relationship with someone and say, hey, look, I'm gonna come to LA for a few days. But then that's when you got to be someone who's on their grind, someone who's gonna be okay with sometimes like, yo, I might fail. I might go to LA and get one session and I paid $2,000 to get there. But it's the opportunity of being there and being seen. And maybe one person might see you and be like, yo, that's my opportunity. But I tell people, one, it starts with your craft, but two, it's also your hustle. It's like, how can I strategically position myself? You don't have to leave your house. Q Beats never been to America. They made hit after hit after hit after hit sitting at their house in Germany. Like they never had a desire to come here. So it's like, I think, yes, you should travel and yes, you should see the world. I think one, it's important to get around, go to different territories when you have the ability. When you have the ability. What happened?
I think it's just Zoom.
What happened?
I think that was just
I think it's
Zoom.
just Zoom. I think that was just Zoom.
I think it's gonna be that. But
Okay.
get to different territories. I think it's gonna be that. But get to different territories. Is that me?
Might be, I think.
Is that me? I think it's like feedback all of a sudden. I think it's feedback all of a sudden. Can you guys hear me now? All right, cool. Yeah, so that's what I would say to that person. But yeah, travel, see different territories, get outside of the world. I think people only think about America, but the world is so much bigger than that. You can have a hit in the UK, um, that might bring you more opportunities than having a hit here, or and vice versa. Of course, everybody wants to come to the US and blow in the US, but like there's so much money in Germany, there's so much money in Paris, and there's so much opportunities to get on a bunch of artists there and build your name and then come over here. You shouldn't just look at like, yo, I got to get on the hit artist that's in the US. I know so many viable producers and writers in different countries that are making a living and doing pretty well. So I think tell people look at all territories, K-pop, Korea, China, Germany, UK, um, different territories of the world. So
I'm gonna do one last question unless you want to keep going on with a few more, your call.
I got 10 questions. I want everybody to get an opportunity. If there's 10 good questions, 5 good questions, I'll do it. I put on this good shirt for y'all, so let's enjoy it.
This person, Amy, they're asking an interesting question where producers can post clips of themselves making beats, artists of themselves singing, but what type of marketing do you suggest for songwriters who are more behind the scenes, and want to also get that exposure?
Why do you have to be behind the scenes? You're an artist of your work. Promote it like everybody else is going to do it. Um, it doesn't have to be the specific song that you're writing that you want to pitch to people. Sometimes it may be, sometimes just snippets. Sometimes people are afraid of like, somebody gonna steal my idea, somebody gonna steal my song. Pooper told me a great thing. If you can write one hit song, you can write another one. So it's like you can write one song, you can write another one. And of course, that you got to be careful of, someone might take my work, but I think you should showcase your ability. I think there's various ways, and the way you do that as a songwriter is strategically align yourself, and that goes back to who's your team, building with those people. I think I live for the songwriter because I feel like truly the songwriter has it much harder than the producer. You got to go into a room, hear a beat, sit with an artist, hope the artist is having a good day, hope that his water is cold or something, and you got to evoke emotion and kind of put thought what you think he wants to hear. It's so hard that you gotta rack your brain for hours while a producer, they're creative. I don't take nothing away from producers because I love producers. but someone's got to exert so much energy to write a song for someone, that person could turn around and walk out the room and leave. So it's like, I think it's so important for a songwriter to make sure that they're heard, that they're seen, that they're visible. Don't treat yourself just like how the producer would treat themselves. Treat yourself just like how the artist would treat themselves. Um, and I think more songwriters need to be heard every day. I think it's so beautiful when you see songwriters become successful artists. When you look at someone like Money Long, who's worked hard and hard in this music industry, that's written amazing songs, amazing hits for people, and finally getting her recognition and her time. I think that's a beautiful thing. Victoria Monet, great one, who has written many songs for Ariana Grande and different people. And now look at, she's shining, she's thriving. It's so important. Um, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. At the end of the day, I want people to also know, work on your talent. Don't just be trash and think like, yo, this is gonna come to me. Like, work hard. Like, and if you're not there, keep grinding. Like when I first managed my clients, they weren't there. I just seen a vision in them. I was like, I told one of the guys, like, yo, this person needs to be in the group. They got to move with us. And he's like, he didn't see it at the time. But I was like, yo, trust me. He don't have it right now, but he's gonna get it. This kid went on to produce 3 different hits: Paint the Town Red, Where Are You Now by Justin Bieber, Broccoli with John, Nani with Sweetie. So it's like, sometimes people may not see it right away. Sometimes you may not see it right away in yourself, but build it, they will come. People will come find you. So it's like, put out the content, put out the stuff.
Real. I think jumping on that, this person's asking, as an independent artist, I'm sure this is subjective, but do you think there's a standard of how much percentage is needed to be given to the publisher, and what percentage is needed to give to the songwriter?
Well, you don't give percentage to the publisher. Uh we just exploit the works for you. Um I think when an artist is in the studio with a writer, it's subjective to what the situation is. It's based on sometimes where the level of the artist is at. It's the level where the writer's at. It's how much you wrote. Did you write 2 words? Did you write the hook? Did you write the full song? Um, it's where you're at in your career. Like, there's no set standard on like, yo, I wrote this, I'm gonna get this. But like, we know, like, okay, generally an artist might take 15% from a song because they're gonna cut it and they're a big artist. Some artists may take 10%. Some bigger artists may want 30%. It's all what you negotiate. Sometimes I feel like it can be unfair, but like, I tell people 0% of nothing is zero. So it's like, let that be your catalyst to get you to the next thing where you can start to negotiate and demand more things for yourself. Or sometimes you stand on business out the gate. Sometimes it may get you out of the room because people are like, yo, that person's difficult. But sometimes you truly believe in your works. Some people will follow suit. Some people will be like, you know what, we understand and we respect it. Sometimes it may never work with you, but sometimes, like, if you're that talented, it'll be figured out.
Do you believe there's a best deal type for a rising producer to sign?
The best deal type is the best deal that worked for you. I've seen some people sign a deal that didn't make sense, but who they were associated to, it helped them get that opportunity. Sometimes you'd be like, yo, I signed this bad deal, but like, you got 40 placements. When I first signed my guys to BMG, it wasn't the greatest deal, but you know what I signed for? Some people sometimes forget there's 2 different sides of the deal: the opportunity in the deal and the money in the deal. When my guys first signed their deal, it wasn't a great deal, but it got me to move to LA. It got me to understand the music business. It got me to be more creative in the next deal because I was like, I never want to go back to that. I don't think anybody should sign a deal, but if there's an opportunity that presents itself that you think you can outwork, and you got that kind of power in you up here, like, yo, I might be signing this kind of deal, but I'm gonna outwork this deal. And I'm gonna get out of this deal and I'm gonna really go get it. So I think, be mindful, equip the right lawyer, get like-minded individuals, educate yourself. I think everybody should sign a deal that makes sense for them. I don't think anybody should be in bad deals, but if an opportunity presents itself that may work for you, I think you should look at every option, but don't knowingly put yourself in a bad situation. That's why you get a lawyer who's informed, a manager who's probably informed, or have a friend look over who might be informed in the industry. But I think a deal you make a deal when it's right for you. Some people sign a deal early, some people sign a deal late. Some people wait too long, they catch the hit and they're on the back side of the deal. So now the leverage is gone the other way. So it's like when you want to come get the money you get, the energy and the emotion is gone. So it's like I might just give you a deal that just makes sense just to get you in the door. But when you had the momentum, you missed on the opportunity because sometimes people bank on like, yo, I'm gonna catch another record. Hits don't come every day, like but when you do get one, I think you should be strategic and mindful on like your strategy on how you want to play it, when's the right time to strike. And sometimes people strike at the right time and some people miss it. Uh, and that's when you got to go back and retool and get back in the shed and be like, yo, how do I get back to it where I can pipe this up again to where I can get that bag? Sometimes it comes around, sometimes it don't.
I like that. Let's do two more. One, how does a lawyer tap into the music industry?
Networking. Just getting with people. I'm in a chat with my homies called Men's Bible Study. It's like a funny chat where we send different memes and there's different executives, different lawyers, and some people like, yo, I may not have that circle of friends yet. A lot of these people I didn't know at first, but it's just like strategically positioning myself and meeting people, going to these different BMI events, going to these different places. Like, and there was times where I wasn't invited, but you know what I did? I waited till the show was over and people got to walk out. And I'm like, yo, oh, I see the one person in the crowd I know, and that was my talking point. People would see me with that person. Now I'm starting conversations with other people. So I always use strategy and be strategic in I'm never like overdoing it, but I use strategy because people would always say that, Wallace, how you get in these rooms? I'm like, yo, I see that person online over there. I bet I know they frequent over there. I know I'm gonna pull up on this day. They're gonna be there and be like, oh, hey, you're here. So I tell people just get strategic, but social media is the easiest way. Like you can't beat it. And then relationships are so important. Find that one person that believe in you, that want to always give you the opportunity or look out for you, and go with them. But like social media, I'm tapping and I'm connecting with you. Make sure you have something that you can sometimes offer to somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the work. But can you offer advice? Can you be personable? Can you be a friend? A lot of times these executives deal with these high stress jobs. Like sometimes they just want to be friends with people. They don't want to talk about music every day. Find other ways to make entry versus just saying music, 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 music. Because a lot of people, 100 other people are doing that. And like, what makes you different from everybody else?
Bars, what makes you different? What sets you apart? Last one. I like this one. Jelani is asking, you shared a couple of vulnerable stories about your lowest moments in LA. Now that you're successful, what motivates you to keep going? And what does the future Wallace desire for his career?
Hmm. What motivates me to keep going is seeing other like-minded individuals like me get opportunities in these doors and like get their chance to usher in somebody else. Like someone gave me an opportunity. I want to work hard to help see someone realize their opportunity. So that's what it is for me. Like the music is great, the job is great, the life to be able to do this every single day is a blessing. It's truly a blessing that I get to wake up and do music every day, day in and day out. But I think the biggest thing to me is seeing other people realize their dreams. And that's what I do it for. You get through a period, you're like, oh man, I did this for so many years. And it's like, is 8 years a long time? Yes. Is it not? Whatever. It's subject to people. But it's like, yeah, this has been a lot of work done in between those times. But when I started realizing like what was my purpose is helping other people realize their dreams. How can I help you change your life? Because someone helped me change my life. How can I pay it forward? And that's my biggest thing. Someone seen me, a kid who dropped out of college his senior year and was like, hey, I'm gonna go figure it out in LA, and was just figuring it out. And someone really looked at me and said, hey, look, you know what? I want to help you. Just follow this path and just work hard and you're gonna see what's gonna happen. And I literally followed that. So like I see other people that's in the same position or people trying to get there or people may not be as knowledgeable. I want to pass the information because before that person see me, I didn't have a lot of people to pass me the information and I was just hitting a lot of dead ends. I was trying to figure it out. And it's like, make yourself visible. Speak positive out into the atmosphere every day. Talk to yourself about what you want to do. I'm not saying be crazy, but like say the things that you want to become. Like words have power. When you start saying stuff, like you notice like energy starts to come around you. Like, speak out, tell your friends like what you're gonna do. I remember sitting in Denny's 2010 telling my friends like we're gonna have a hit record on the Billboard charts. I didn't even know how the Billboard charts worked. I was just like, just study it. And an executive like Zach Katz told me, like, look at the charts from the bottom up. Don't look at it from the top up, because the top ones are usually the big artists or a breakout song. Look at the songs that are growing from the bottom and watch those artists grow. Watch how this song moves. And that's going to be determined to be like, yo, this is a real song. So I started speaking things outwardly. I started saying like what I wanted to become. I started saying the things I wanted to do. And I tell people like, speak positivity in this space and tell people your goals. Tell people what you're trying to do, because there might be someone else that's trying to do the same thing as you, but they're quiet. And so you guys can't go together because like that person is being recluse about what their thoughts are, but you may be that one person that lights the fire in that person, and in turn they light a fire in you. And then you can look up, you're like 2 years from now, you're like, yo, we got this, we got that, we're being able to do this. And it's like, it's great to have those tangible things. But for me, at the end of the day, it's seeing somebody else realize their dream. That's the biggest thing that keeps me going, and helping others like get put in position, educating people, giving them the biggest thing in this game is, like my boss always tells me, Ryan, information. If you have the information, you have the access. And information is everything. Information is advertising. Information is being first to the race, and you're equipped. You're gonna beat everybody every time. So I think it's staying informed, and that's my thing, passing it on to the next person.
Beautifully said,
If
Wallace.
there's one more question, I'll answer it, and then I'm
Oh,
out.
okay, let's go one more.
One more.
Let's see. Tatiana is asking if a publishing deal can be helpful for a music producer who is looking to work with more artists and on more records. So will it give them more work if they sign a publishing deal?
And I think the publishing deal helps you cast a wider net, because now you have people you can go to in different genres, and people you can connect with, people you can collaborate with, people you can get with, and say, hey, look, I got an idea. Doesn't mean this person's going to take you to the artist tomorrow, but maybe there's a strategic session that they could put you in that aligns you to get to this place. And what people don't realize, that publishing I've seen it change so many people's lives. I watched someone like Justin Trainer start in a band group. The band group didn't work out, and a person, two A&Rs seen something in him, was like, hey, look, we believe in you. We're going to put you in the strategic sessions. We're going to align you with some people. Justin Trainer has now become one of the biggest songwriters in our history. Last year had 8 billion streams as a writer. So it's like, it's all about aligning with the right people. And yes, a publishing deal can serve you that. Sometimes you can get a publishing deal and it may not work out. But I think if you match the efforts of the person that's there with you and they believe in you, 1000% a publisher can help change lives, and you can help change others' lives. And if you guys go together and uh, have that gravitas of like, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna kill. Like I'm gonna make it my mark to make sure like I deliver to my person and they deliver to me. If you guys go in with that mindset, other people see, other A&R see that, oh, that pop person will start calling you. That alternative person will be like, hey, love, I love what you're doing. You should work with this person. And before you know it, you're strategically finding yourself in different rooms, and now you've kind of put yourself in a place where people are calling you. And it's building this narrative of like, yo, every time this person in his room, he does this really great. So it's like, what I say publishers do, we help paint the story for you.
Love it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope everyone has a great day. Shout out to everyone around the world. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. Feel like this was a little long, but I appreciate everyone being on this call. I know my friends are talking hella crap in my text messages a lot, but I truly appreciate you guys staying on here and listening, and however I can be of service to you guys. Please let me know. I don't know if there's a thing where like you guys send a chat to, I would give my email, but I may not be able to get through it. You guys can stay connected with me online, stuff like that. DM me, send me some stuff. Don't kill my DMs, but like, let's get together. Let's exchange knowledge. Let's share. I want to be able to trade information with people. One of my best friends is calling me. I don't know if he's on here, but really, thank you everybody for joining. Thank you everybody for tapping in. Yeah, I think it's important to go together with people. Find your individual. I see my friends calling me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be in this place. So I want to give a special shout out to a few people that I've grinded with, the Gordon Dillers of the world, the Brian DeRosas of the world, the Birdman Zos of the world, the Lou Motas of the world, just different people. And I know I'm missing some names, the Tunde Ballions, all of LVRN. My friends have really truly supported me and been my tribe and my community. So find your community, find your tribe, and go together with those people and do great things.
Appreciate you. I was gonna ask where they can contact you, but you shared the DM, so everyone don't flood him.
Get out
But
of the we make it to the email, we going somewhere. So and
thank you so much, Wallace.
big
We
thank you to
appreciate
my
you.
supporters, big thank you to my family, big thank you to my girl. Like we here, we out, we
Yep,
out.
here. Yep, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who joined. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you,
Shout
Wallace.
out V Live, man. V Live is
You
super
laugh.
instrumental. I'm so thankful for him. He's my Haitian brother, and I'm so grateful. I'm gonna call him, and he'll probably call me. But I appreciate every single one joining. Good night.
Thank you, Wallace. Bye.
Bye bye.